Livestream wird übertragen. All right then. Hi. Hello. And welcome back to another live version of the Ascension Kitchen. I have recently returned from a conference in Peru, and the energies of that, they are still settling. But there's a lot of energy moving, and part of that energy moving says, get on with the Ascension Kitchen, because, yeah, it's time for it. So, here I am with another episode, talking you through and showing you how to create plant-based food for 5D consciousness. And today, the idea, the plan is two dishes. One is an unconventional pasta dish because I'll be making a kind of bolognese sauce, kind of, but with rice pasta, Thai style rice pasta. And the other one is one pot. The recipes originate from this one. Veggie. So a lot of these recipes are, these recipes are vegetarian. Some of them can be veganized, some can't. This one is possible to vegan. I think actually it is vegan. Yeah. It is this one. But I wouldn't be me if I didn't go. Interesting inspiration. That's a good starting point. Let me see what I can make with this. So this is going to be individualized. Also because I don't have any mushrooms, but a whole bunch of veggies. So that's what I'll be making. Right? Let me see where to put this. Somewhere in this massive kitchen. I have been told that apparently on the screen my kitchen looks incredibly big. It's not. Well, I'm not incredibly big. I'm 160 centimeters. Not really, but kind of. 5'3" for those who don't do centimeters. So, yeah, this big kitchen is not big. I'm big on here. Let's get started. I'm going to start with cooking the sauce for the pasta, which means brown lentils, carrots. This is like half a bell pepper, half a red pepper. I ate yellow yesterday. I have some leftover leaves from celery. That's going to go in as well. Passata, I have no idea how much. We shall see how much I need. And yeah, I have washed the carrots. I'm not going to peel the carrots because if your carrots are organic, you don't need to peel them. Also, I don't like peeling veggies. I enjoy cooking. I like being creative in the kitchen. However, I do not like peeling things. Potatoes, no. It all goes into the pot with the peel. I don't like it. It's a whole lot of time, effort, work. Highly recommend it. Anyway, people always say that the most nutrients are in the peel. So, okay. Brown lentils take a little while to cook. So I'm going to put them in my pot first. Lentils, pot. How much water? Usually, I think about like 2 to 3 times as much water as lentils. But there will be vegetables in there, so might be a bit more. So I always go by feel. This might be enough water, it might not be. Okay. Now, usually I put the salt in afterwards. The package always say put in the salt afterwards, because if you put in salt from the beginning, it may take more time for the lentils to cook. I'm going to use vegetable font, something like it, because I need this for the other recipe, so it's out anyway. So how much? I don't know. And yes, I'm aware that this is singularly unhelpful if you're not used to cooking by feeling. Go with what is right for you. Yeah. Okay. So put it on the stove. Okay. On. In the meantime, chopping these into small pieces. And when they are chopped, they go in the same pot. My computer is talking to me like excessively, and very distracting. So cutting into small slices, and then cut these into as big pieces as you want to. Doesn't really matter. Keep in mind that the bigger the pieces are, the longer they will take. The shorter, the smaller they are, the faster they will cook. And also, it's kind of when it because I'm using lentils. Lentils are small, so I like my veggie pieces to be also small, so that they're also kind of the same size. Well, it's going to be bigger than the lentil, maybe bigger than the pasta. Now that would be something. Actually, that sounds interesting. Okay. Well, for now, this knife needs sharpening. Definitely needs sharpening. Wondering how big should the pieces be? Like that, or however big you want them to be. Now my brain is stuck on having veggies the size of pasta. It depends on what kind of pasta you're using, obviously. But that would be interesting. Can be done. I have done it in the past. But I'm thinking spirals. Spirals and vegetables that are the size of these spirals. I like this idea. And I haven't got any spiral pasta. I've run out of pasta, which is why I'm making this dish with. I don't have spirals. I don't have tragedy. Okay, carrots. Both hands. And yes, this carrot is a little bit brown. That's fine. It's still edible. It's still perfectly fine. Oh, that's what it looks like inside. So all good. This is how I like to chop carrots. Now, sometimes the recipe calls for diced carrots. This is a bit confusing. Like, how do you make squares out of something round? This is how I do it. It's not how the chef might do it, but that's how I do it. So cut lengthwise and then into thin strips. and then just chop them into small pieces. No, that's not exactly square. But works for my purposes. There will be a bit of carrot chopping happening now. Yeah, the lentils are starting to cook. I try. Generally speaking, I enjoy chopping vegetables for several reasons. For one reason, I find it immensely grounding, and the other is what I just demonstrated. If your attention wanders, if your mind is not present, accidents happen. Ask me how I know that. So if your carrot is like a bit bigger, cut it into and then chop. Are there faster ways to chop vegetables? Probably. Do I need to chop them faster? No. This is neither a competition nor am I on the run. So, all good. So the lentils, the water of the lentils is boiling. What I do is I turn the heat down to like medium high. Depends on your device. And I'm going to put in, let's see, how much? 20 minutes. Okay. Leave the lid lifted a little bit. Yeah, I will turn you around to show you that technology is still. We'll have to use your imagination. I'm already hungry. Probably won't be hungry by the end of this episode. Right now. Okay, so veggies chopped. Chopped veggies go in pot. What's speaking to me? So, now what do I do with these? I don't know yet. I think I shall chop them into small bits and add them towards the end of the cooking. Chopping into small bits should probably be done with bacon. Big enough? Big enough. And when I say big knife, I mean big. this is so you might be wondering why these leaves. Well, several reasons. One reason is my shortcut to create any dish is for it to contain a grain, a green, and a bean. In this case, the grain is going to be the pasta, the bean, obviously, the lentils, and this is the green. However, I also have a recipe for vegetarian vegan sauce bolognese that mixes or that uses carrots, mushrooms, and celery, and potatoes. Tomatoes. Why potatoes? Why am I speaking of potatoes? I don't know. Since I don't have any more celery because I ate it all, I love raw celery. It's just about the best summer comfort food ever. But I have the leaves left over, so I'm going to use them in my makeshift sauce. And will that taste nice? I have no idea. I'm sure it will. Trust the process. Enjoy the results. Okay, so this is that already, basically. While the lentils and veggies cook, that is chopped. I will need to wait until the lentils are done in order to cook the pasta because I only have 2 rings, hops, whatever you want to call them, on my stove. Yeah, and the other one is already taken up by this one. I call this the Samwise Gamgee pan because it's massive and it's heavy and you can definitely use it to bash the forks heads. That's why the Samwise Gamgee. Okay, so the other dish will need onions. These are the last onions I have. For once, I'm running out of onions. For once, garlic. Now, instead of mushrooms, I have another red bell pepper, more carrots, and a zucchini. So I'm going to use this. It will feature as a for bean will be tofu. The original recipe uses smoked tofu. Okay. Look, I did the original recipe once and it was fine. However, I feel like doing something different. The secret ingredient is and for the grain, buckwheat. So let's get to chopping. More chopping, more chopping. So when it comes to any dish that includes onions, they go last. Why? So that I don't fry so much. Okay, let me choppy. So let me contemplate how thick I want these pieces. I think you can go a little bit thicker than the other one. Yeah, microphone with a big knife. Ask me how I know that. Oh, that's a big book. Yeah, in case you're wondering, the window is right behind you. Do I like that? Now, also be watered, but bigger. So slightly bigger container. Slightly bigger container. Why am I chopping the carrot into several small pieces first? Easier to cut for me. So that's what I do. No other reason. You want to cut carrot in one go ahead, do so. Squeak, squeak. Chicken. Starting to smell very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Excellent. That's, I do not like the seeds. They're tiny, they cling, annoying. I'm going to cut it like this. Usually I would cut the pepper like this. But why not cut it like this? For some interesting shapes. Not just essential. cutting out the white bits in the pepper. And I can stay in. It's so much faster than what I usually do. So much it's annoying. Haven't I done this before? What you learn, right? It's so used to what you learn that not even on your mental horizon, you're trying to do things. Point the food we had in on the retreat. It was a fantastic example of what happens when people have no idea about vegan cooking. I don't be unkind and say they have no idea what to do, but I don't think it was that. I think it was more what I said before, what you grew up with. It's so normal. And if nothing ever pokes you, you don't even you don't question like, can this be done differently? Is that even possible? And if so, how? Maybe people are obviously strong meat eaters. And the food we had the first few days was a perfect example of what happens when people who are so very rigid and don't question their habits, their food habits in this case, cut out everything that isn't vegan. Take out the meat, you take out the fish, you take out the chicken, you take out the milk, the cheese, the butter, the eggs. There isn't a lot left, which is usually also the argument people bring against food. It's like, if you cut all of this out, what's left? There's nothing left, and then vegan food is boring. Yes, you're right. If you cut out everything, vegan food is boring. But then all diets are boring if you cut certain things out. The trick is to add things in. And I don't mean these replacement products like vegan chicken nuggets or fish fingers or bacon or what have you. I mean things like beans, lentils, chickpeas, tofu, spices. You can do a whole lot of really interesting things with spices. And let's be honest, would you have ever contemplated putting the leaves of celery sticks in food? No. So you take things away and you put other things in, and they're magical. But yeah, if you don't question and your mindset is very rigid, very limited, and that might sound harsh, but I can't think of a more diplomatic way to put this. And you take everything out, and what you're left with is white rice, potatoes, and a little side dish consisting of green beans, carrots, and broccoli. Ask me how I know that. What we had for the first few days. Until there was a conversation. And kudos to the people who had the conversation, because our group spoke very little Spanish, their group spoke very little English. Thank God for translation programs these days. So there was a conversation had through translation apps. And they called on, although I would still say I could have done without all the white rice. And also the vegetable soup. Look, I'm not a fan of soup, generally speaking. We have vegetable soup half the time in the evenings. Yeah, What I think? How are you? This is what already done. Yeah. Okay. 4 minutes. Turn it down. There's a lot of water in there now. I could throw in this. Yeah. Cool. Nice. Yes, yes. And then I start to protest. Okay. Um, okay. I have chopped the veggies. Good thing I have this free now for. I contemplated marinating this, but if you marinate tofu, if recipes that tell to marinate tofu always tell you to marinate the tofu for at least 2 hours. Bullshit. Don't do 2 hours. If nothing happens in 2 hours, do it overnight for at least 12 hours. But it's the reason why I did not marinate the tofu. I forgot. So I will have unmarinated tofu. That's all right. Now, I have taken to always packing the tofu a little bit dry. Is it like that? Wet as it is? That bit nice. Not white. Now I don't go to the effort to put like literally squeeze the water out. Probably much nicer still in the recipe. Must be okay like that. Let's chop the tofu like how big pieces. I think the recipe wanted really big. The recipe also wanted twice as much. Oh, I've done the recipe before, according to the recipe, and it was a lot. If you're a family of four and have a couple of strong eaters, then yes, you might eat 400 grams or 2 packs. If you're a single household, summertime, meaning will not store quite as easily, even in the fridge without going off. Yeah, half the ingredients. Oh, so the lentils look like this now. As you can see, there's a lot of water in there. Doesn't need quite as much water. Okay. So, on spices. Spices, salt and pepper, standard. I also like using paprika. Oh, this might surprise you. A dish of cinnamon. dash. It's like you less than half a teaspoon, an eighth of a teaspoon, like really little. You don't taste this that how much salt and pepper? That depends on your taste buddy. Of the pepper. Um, on retreat, I eat the food usually as it comes. Most people add salt, so you might need to add more salt than things. Um, the other spices are, I'd say, start with a teaspoon of paprika. And when I say teaspoon, I mean something like a heap teaspoon. Yeah. Yes. So as for cinnamon, something like that. A lot. Now the paprika and the cinnamon are not the spices or used in the original bolognese sauce, but I can't remember what they are, and I don't care either. All of this is improvised. Now, if you're struggling with spices, I get you. For the longest time, saying what I would recommend in that case, go for mixes, ready mixed spice blends. So this obviously Indian. This is kind of Middle East, I think. Yeah, makes your life a whole lot easier. And yeah, might be something that's only happening in Europe or maybe only happening in Germany these days. If I go into a supermarket, any kind of supermarket, doesn't really matter which one, whether it's a traditional one, whether it's a discounter or an organic shop, and I go to the spice rack, they have this. I mean, there's always more variety than I can possibly need. But there's also these days a large amount of blends, all kinds of blends. Barbecue, chicken, pasta, pizza, whatever have you, salad, green salad, mixed salad, whatever. So with my spice, what I cook, I recommend going for blends, at least at first. The other option is if you already have like a massive spice rack and then you still struggle what to put in, make the sniff test. Do the sniff test. Meaning, think about what spices you might want or what herbs you might want. Sniff the spice or the herb. If there is, if you feel or if it smells right, if you think not, don't do it. It's not foolproof, but it's a way of doing things. How I learned to a degree. Very helpful shortcut. Okay, stop. Let's have one. As I said, I don't know how much cassava I will need. You can't see anything, so this is the mixture now without a whole lot of water. Oh yeah, I approve. I approve. Yes, I know I do sound effects. I kept entertaining people at the retreat with my sound effects. You know how a bird of prey that is hovering, above the landscape does? For some reason that it was endlessly entertaining to the people on the retreat. Also, you know what? Now, for those of you who don't know what that was, no, that wasn't a cat, that was a duck. So I'm adding some tomato paste for more tomato paste. Look at me rhyming things. But speaking about animal, a duck in Peru, it has a light blue beak and it goes ow, ow, ow. How much tomato paste? How tomatoey do you want your sauce to be? Yep. And I very much think, oh, this is what it looks like. It's like very nice saucy. I shall so this. This is very your limits first and never ever lick the spoon. That's a bad. How I know that. Okay, let's see. How does it taste? I forgot something. Lettuce needs vinegar. In my opinion, it improves the taste a whole lot. Let's start with that. We much better. Still needs a little something. Mm. Now, oh, if your dish doesn't really taste like anything, salt, add salt. But salt is an area that amplifies of taste. So if your dish doesn't really taste like much, salt. But I also think it might need some of my ice blend. So I have this herb blend, veggie, blend for umami. Ooh. I know I already added oil, but I used cayenne pepper for a bit. But I think that container cayenne pepper was already a bit old. So I was like, and I bought new cayenne pepper. Very careful with cayenne pepper that it seems spicy. Okay. That's on you. Oil, amplifier, and carrier. Thanks. Also makes things creamy. Looks very nice. Well, yeah. I think what this needs now is it needs to settle. The flavors needs to kind of blend and infuse and things like that. So put the lid on, put this aside somewhere. Not much room in my kitchen to put things aside, so I'll find a space in the living room on the floor. Okay, fine. That was that. Let me tidy this disaster zone a little bit. This thing. What did I take out of the fridge? Tamari sauce, which I use instead of soy sauce because tamari sauce does not contain any, therefore no gluten. So, back to chopping. Chopping. I know the original recipe says 4 cloves of garlic. Let's see how much how much garlic wants to go in my one. Yeah, they're all cool though. Right. I already. Nice. Then once they're ready, take off your layers. Some layers are more resistant than others. Now, if that isn't a metaphor. Okay. Chopped. I'm using a big knife because big knife is chopping garlic. Chomp, 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 chomp. Chop into small enough pieces. I might use all of them. Then I might have to buy onion. Wow. Don't even remember the last time I had to buy onion. Because there's usually a lot of onions in my bi-weekly or weekly, depending on how I set the schedule. Box of rescued fruit and veggies. For some reason, other people don't need onions, so I do. But there are things in my box. One. Might be due to the fact that I used to go to the mixed box, which was just whatever they had on hand, mixed fruit and veggies. Like if you go for the veggie box or the fruit, obviously not. But now I have the seasonal box, so they buy packs fruit and veggies that are in season. It's not onion season at the moment, so I mean, my last box had apples, oranges, bananas, and it's like July. It's not orange season, and it's not apple season either. I mean, maybe very early apples, but all the apple trees around here, yes, they're laden with apples, but the apples aren't done yet. The sunshine. This onion is one of those that is very resistant to being peeled. Fantastic exercise and patience. I don't have a lot of patience. Oh, come on, onion, let yourself be peeled. Please. What is that telling me? Why did I manifest that? What did I say earlier? Some layers are more easy to peel off and some are more difficult. Yeah. And what is this telling me? It's telling me that you need patience. Peel some of the persistent layers off. Sometimes the universe can be like radio on and off with its synchronicities. Yes, I'm working through a couple of layers that are somewhat difficult to peel off. Yes, that's nice. But layers, sometimes the layers themselves, the more you peel off, the less identity there is. And your identity gets really, really scared. But like, okay, sure, we can peel this off in one. You look at these layers inside of yourself thinking, what is this even?
Where did this come from? Why is it here? And I let go of this. The mind says, yeah, I want to let go of this. And part of your identity is, yes, I want to let go of this. And the identity part that you're trying to let go of this. Yeah. Fair enough. The new experience all on your own for the identity. So it's all right to be scared. But what did our great prophet Carrie Fisher say? You have to do it anyway. Something along those lines. Identity is not convinced. Okay. That's me. Okay, so everything's stopped. Let's get to cooking. So the first step is to saute this. Now for sauteing, I always use coconut oil. How much? Again, depends on you, really. Depends on how much onion and garlic you have. I'd say like maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons, or less. And let me consult the recipe. It says to saute onion and garlic. Basically something. Saute. They add the kimchi right off the start. I shall have to add the rest of the veggies first. Hot. Let me see if I can. Turn your better. And you can leave a little bit. Now this is getting a bit too hot. Okay. Might need to open the window. Window. So the original recipe says to saute this for 6 to 7 minutes. If you're doing this on that medium high heat, yes, it might take a little. It might take that long. Might actually have been better idea. I'm always too impatient. She said and edit in the veggies. Why the zucchini so early? Yes, the pepper takes longer to soften than the zucchini, but I want the zucchini to be a little bit brown. So zucchini goes in early. Now turn the heat back up. Oh, quickly. I need the lid later. Looks like that. And now we wait. I declare this nice. I'm ready for the kimchi. I can open the box. Too much party. This is normal kimchi. Woo! This now can bubble away for a bit. I think I might need to turn up the heat again. Maybe not. Okay. Recipe then says to add in veggie broth or stock. Not basic. Recipe says that add in stock, chili paste, mushrooms, egg, and barley. See, the original recipe uses barley. I don't. I use buckwheat. Stock. I don't know how much chili paste did they want? Maybe a whole lot. 2 tablespoons. That's a lot. Add this. Let's start with 2 teaspoons. Do not lick the spoon. Yes, they want Korean chili paste gochujang, but I don't have that. I have chili paste. So, stop. Original recipe says a liter. Since I'm halving it, I'm using half a liter. And how much? One tablespoon. So that's like 1, 2. Yeah, something like that. Put this in. Not this in. Yeah. Oh. Okay. Oh. Turn down heat to like medium. Put lid on. And then cook basically until the buckwheat's done. So I always forget how long it takes. I think the original recipe says about 20 minutes. I think it doesn't need as much. 17? Do you think 17 is all right? No, I think actually longer. 21. Okay, that's it. That really is it. You're wondering, wait a minute, there was tofu. Yes, towards the end, um, recipe says like 3 minutes before the end of the cook time, you stir in the tofu just so that it heats through. So basically, you pop it in at the end, and that's it. Can be as easy as that. If you don't like kimchi, leave the kimchi out. Use no, the recipe uses the kimchi because the kimchi comes pre-seasoned, which makes the whole thing that much easier. That's too small for me to read, sorry. I need my glasses. Anyway, so yeah, that's the reason why the original recipe uses kimchi. As I said, if you don't like the kimchi, actually I find it by itself it's a bit hit and miss, but in that it's good. Yeah. Can you use other things than kimchi? Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, always look at what at the ingredients, like what exactly are the ingredients, how much sugar is in there. If you're in the US, I think you have an issue with people putting way too much salt into everything. So look at the salt, look at how much sugar there is, and not just sugar, but all the other like dextrose, fructose, high whatever corn syrup. Then there is cornstarch, modified cornstarch. All of these things are sugar. So look at how much there is um, in whatever you're using. But yeah, sure. Um, if it works for you. Also keep in mind that the more processed the food is. I don't want to say it's unhealthy. However, the more processed the food is, um, think of it this way: each processing step requires someone to do it. Sure, industrial food chain, it's mostly machines, but there's someone who's using the machines. Meaning, the more processed your food is, it doesn't only mean that the fewer nutrients are in your food, because each processing step kills some nutrients, but also the more foreign energy there is in your food. That might be a person, that might be a machine. Is that something that you want? Is that the kind of energy you want to include in your being, in your energy body? If you say no, I don't, then look for alternatives. Less processed food is helpful. Is processed food inconvenient? Yes, of course it is. Absolutely. I mean, I'm using ready-made kimchi. I'm not making my own. I'm using ready-made kimchi because it's convenient and it's faster. Um, does that do something to my energy feed? Yes, absolutely. I'm aware of that. Uh, and it really depends on how pure, I don't really like the word pure, but how pure you want your diet and therefore your energy field to be. Now, for me personally, a bit of density is a good thing because, for one thing, grounding, and the other thing is, if you're really empathic, if you're really sensitive, not just but not just physically, but more energetically, or the other way around, like multidimensionally, overwhelming. And food, especially dense food, like really dampens things down and can make certain things a whole lot more bearable, overall speaking. That's my 2 cents on that matter. Again, let me tidy up this disaster zone a little bit. Now I can turn you around. You can watch me tidy up. That's something you're interested in. If you're thinking that this kitchen was not built with small people in mind, you're very right. There's overall very little storage space, and so I have these cabinets. Those are mostly fine, but there's two more above them. Yeah, I need a ladder to get to. Oh, yes, I could wash the knife, but I can also use it. Oh, bubbling nicely.
might be thinking, wait a minute, there was something that you wanted to do. Oh, but I still want to tidy up this a bit more first. Here, that's good. Yes, I'm aware just about every other kitchen expert is shrieking now about me rinsing my wooden cutting board with water. I know. But if I don't, and I cut garlic on it, and later I cut apples. I mean, I don't know about you. Maybe you like your apples tasting garlicky and your oranges and your bananas. Me personally, not really. If there's a different way to do it, I'm all ears. Please tell me. Ooh, hot, hot. Want to cook some pasta with me? One out of it. Water because the tap water in Germany. And officially, that's not such a good idea. Um, most water filters, water processing, cleaning, cleansing, whatever thingies. Kläranlage in German. I don't know what this is in English. That are run by the communities. They can't really filter out certain things. They can't filter out residue of hormones. So every woman on the pill pays out hormones that's in your drinking water. They can't filter out every medication. So if you have a hospital in town, especially a hospital that treats cancer patients, that's in the water, and of course microplastics. Filter out all of that? Probably not. That is certainly less at stakes. Now you might be wondering, wait a minute, that wasn't really a lot of water to cook pasta. Nope. I'm taking water in there, bring it to a boil, cook the rest of the water, bring the rest of the water to the kettle, it goes fast. I actually think it also saves energy because yes, this requires a lot of energy, but so does boiling water on the stove. So yeah, those are the dishes that I wanted to make. Yummy. The pasta is the last thing that I'll need to make. I need to refill my water filter. And I mean, if you want to hang around another 10 minutes, you can see the result of the one pot. So we've what it looks like right now. Bubbling along very nicely. But it certainly needs a little longer because the buckwheat is definitely not done. That's the water filter top down. In case you're wondering, it's a bulky, that does not need electricity, that works with gravity. It's like you put in the water in the top part and it filters through, I think, charcoal to the bottom part. A friend of mine who worked in Africa said she had that one, recommended that one because apparently that's what a lot of support aid help organizations in Africa use as well. Because, as I said, it doesn't need electricity, it works with gravity. And apparently, now, I haven't tested this, but apparently, you get drinking water, you get clean, filtered water. I mean, you can pee in the top. Apparently, I haven't tested that. I will trust. I will. As long as I don't need that, I shall use tap water. But I mean, the moment electricity fails, I'm going to have issues with my tap water anyway because I'm in the top floor, so the water's pumped up with electricity. But I mean, doomsday scenarios. Looks good. Now, if you want to make something like, I mean, I always think this looks great also as a sauce. So, can you make this with rice? Absolutely, rice, millet, pasta, really, basically with everything. Can you make this as a side dish to maybe potatoes? Yeah, just use less water. Because you won't need the water to cook the grain. Can you make the one pot with pasta? Yeah. The pasta is going to taste a bit weird, or the consistency of the pasta is a bit weird if you make pasta as a one pot, at least in my experience, because you don't drain it, you just leave it in. But absolutely, all possible. Speaking of pasta, the water's about to come to a boil. Right, so where's my glasses? This is terrible. I can't read that anymore. Nope. I don't even need salt. Maybe a little bit. Just maybe. Mm. Make them a bit smaller. In they go. Now, when I cook pasta, put pasta in, turn heat down, and then just like rest in hot water. 3 to 5 minutes. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, and that's it. Pasta rests in hot water. It's in hot water. Since it's rice pasta, well, the packaging says to, drain, rinse in hot and cold water, which you don't, generally speaking, as far as I know, don't need to do if you're using wheat pasta. Looks good, eh? How much longer does this need? Time? 4 minutes? Good. Let's add it. Oh. So as you can see, that's not a lot of tofu for the whole pot, which is why the original recipe wanted you to use 2 cups of tofu. One. If you're feeding more than one person, you might want to use more tofu than that. Not, I have a tendency to like when it comes to creating dishes, vegan dishes, probably any dishes, whatever your diet is like, the base layer, meaning what needs to be the foundation, is recommended protein. I have the tendency to have veggies as a base layer. I know my I know. I put my computer on there once and I twisted. And I can't twist them back. So I'm always a bit like, I remind myself of, like these kind of school teacher who's always having her glasses tilted on, like weirdly. I might simply buy new glasses. What do you think about that? Yeah, I think this will be done when the time is done. So, mind, 21 minutes. That's it for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being interested. And thank you for being interested and enthusiastic about kitchen adventures, Ascension Kitchen, and so on and so forth. There might be more live streams in the future. There might also be more Ascension Kitchen workshops in the future. You never know what the future might bring. Keep an eye on this channel. Keep an eye on my website if you're interested in more. And yeah, I'll let you go. And then I will have some food. And now I need to figure out how to end. Bye.